Welcome everyone to the very first Spanish breakfast show live on U2 Spain. I'm Skatz and I'm moving to Spain with my wife Liz in the near future. We need answers to lots of questions about how we do that, and so do you. That's why you're here. So I'm going to be speaking to experts, expats and exciting Spanish friends every week, all about moving to and living in Spain. And you can ask your questions in the chat box too. It's over there or down there, depending on which device you are watching on. If you're not watching live, then you can ask questions in the comments below, and either way, I'll get you some answers. I have my wife Liz on chat as well. Good morning, Liz, and good morning to Craig all the way from Nottingham, UK. Liz is on U2 Yoga, so she's going to be making notes about any questions that I miss if they fly by too quickly. Apologies if I don't look you in the eye all of the time. I have a whole flight deck worth of screens and I'm looking at the comments as we go along. So I am talking to you though. So on today's show, we're talking about visas. Because if you're a British citizen wanting to move to Spain after Brexit, that's what you need. And we'll focus primarily on the non-lucrative visa today. So just before I welcome my expert guest for the day, do yourself a favour and hit the subscribe button and click on the bell, ting, so you can get notifications whenever we've got an amazing guest for you. So without further ado, let's meet today's special guest. He's also the man that's helping me and Liz to become resident in Spain soon. It's Chris from Upsticks. Good morning, Chris.
Morning, how are we doing?
Very, very good. Good. It's a big pleasure having you on the show. And so, first of all, introduce yourself and tell us briefly about Upsticks and what you do.
Okay, so I'm Chris Goodacre and I run Upsticks. I'll just a little bit about myself. I've been in Spain for 20 years and I've been helping people for over 15 years sort out their paperwork. I did my own residency 20 years ago, realised how difficult it was and ended up doing it for friends, and here we are. So, and Upsticks, my company, we help people to get residency here in Spain. We also actually help do car registrations, believe it or not, which comes hand in hand with doing residencies. But evidently, over the last 3 years, you can imagine the residency applications have exploded. So, and application have changed quite a bit. So yeah, that's basically a bit about us.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So, well, let's leap straight into it then. Let's imagine that I'm a new potential client. I'm a UK citizen. I'm thinking of moving to Spain. I've got some cash in the bank, but I've heard on the Facebook group that I need a visa now and 55,000 euros in the bank, and I'm not allowed to earn any money. Is there any truth in that, or is that just social media pulling my leg?
Well, there is truth in that. So as you know, the monetary side of things is slightly different. I'll come on to explain that now. But yeah, as a third country national, at the moment, as it stands, you would have to apply for a visa. Now, as you mentioned at the beginning, the most popular visa at the moment is the non-lucrative visa, or what they call the retirement visa. So it's a visa, essentially you have to prove that you've got enough money to support yourself for the year, and that you're not carrying out any sort of activity or work activity within Spain. So yeah, you would need to apply for a visa. In terms of the 55,000 euros, yeah, it can be just to break down how they work out how much you need for a visa. We have a system in Spain which is called IPREM, and this is like, they use it to calculate, shall we say, unemployment benefits, minimum pension payments and stuff like that. It's like a set minimum rate which is used by the Spanish government to determine what someone can live on in Spain. Okay, so before, as EU citizens, a UK national would have had to have proven 100% IPREM, which last year sat at around 6,500 euros. This year's actually gone up to 6,700 euros. And if you were going for a visa, non-lucrative visa, the first person or the first applicant has to prove that they've got 4 times annual IPREM. So that's around 27,000. We always say 28,000 euros to be sure. Mm-hmm. If you have a beneficiary, for example, a son or daughter, or you're coming with your wife, then they don't have to prove they've got another 4 times. It's just another one time. So say, for example, it's one person plus a partner, a wife, sorry, then they would have to prove 5 times IPREM. So that would push their minimum rate up to around €34,000, and you have to add €6,700 for every person after that within the family unit. So that's sort of how they work out the monetary side of things. And then obviously then the visa breaks down into various requirements. So you've got healthcare requirements as well, and which we can go into if you like, and obviously the personal requirements, which you have to have your passport and everything has to have a valid date on it, which within 1 year, etc., etc. So, so where do you fancy starting in terms of breaking down the visa requirements? If you've got any other questions?
Yeah, well, I have to hit. Okay, we are back. We have movement. Hello, everybody. We're back. Very sorry for the technical delay there. Can you hear us all now? We were talking about the cash amount for IPREM. Can that include things like UK pension or employment in the UK for a start?
It can. Now let's start with. So first of all, can I just tell you what the official guidance is from the embassy, and there's a couple of things that we mentioned before we go deep into it. Now, at the moment, obviously with immigration, what we always deal with is it's always the interpretation of the entity you're dealing with, to the point where even in the consulates, the embassies, and here in immigration in Malaga, we could have 2 files which are identical, and they might ask us for more stuff for this one and perhaps this one. So obviously everything that's been spoken about with non-lucrative visas is the experience derived from other embassies around the world where people have applied from them. Evidently at the moment, with the embassy being shut down in London, we don't know the nuances of what they're asking for yet. That said, what they've published is what you need to have is the availability of sufficient financial means will be evidenced by submission of original stamped documents that verify the perception of a periodic and sufficient income or the holding of an estate that guarantees the perception of that income. Okay.
I like that complicated language. Explain that then.
That's good. So what do you need? Well, basically, so that if you look at the fixed sum, by far, evidently, the best way to prove you've got the money is to have a fixed deposit in the bank. Okay, so if you've got that money in the bank, you've got access to it. Now, I don't know, you could probably inform me on this, but they do request stamped documents to prove you have the money. Now, I know in the UK it can be quite slightly difficult to get stamps on documents, even more so nowadays with COVID. The immigration authorities here, although they normally request stamped documents during the withdrawal agreement period and the applications we're making for residency, they actually have accepted, shall we say, statements online now, as long as they're properly translated. So we kind of got them to do that because it's just impossible to get stamps on documents. Okay, so one of the things with a fixed deposit is they may ask to see how long that deposit has been there. So, or the origin of those funds. So if it's from a house sale or something like that, it could be something that they request. Now, there's nothing stopping you turning up, first of all, for your appointment with just a document that states I've got X amount in the bank, a certificate, thank you very much, I qualify. What generally happens is that once you've made the application, if they want to see anything else, they'll send you a letter, which is called a requirements letter. So we get them quite often for applications that we make here. We're still getting them for withdrawal agreement applications. So they may say where did the funds come from, or prove this or prove that. Okay. Obviously, if you've had funds sat there for a while and you can prove it directly at the appointment, it's a good idea to take that proof with you. So that just avoids, maybe any questions in the future. In terms of if you can combine income with savings and stuff like that, yeah, as long as you're not exercising an activity in Spain, we'll come on to the should we say digital nomad question in a minute. As long as you're not exercising an activity in Spain, And say, for example, you're the director of a UK company which pays you dividend for a salary, and you can prove that. And if that doesn't quite meet the minimum requirements, back it up with some savings, then that should be okay. If you've got a pension and you're that same position, well, that should be okay as well. If you're getting X amount in a pension, you've got X amount in savings, then again, that should be fine as long as you can meet the minimum requirements. No, it would be classed as an activity. So this is one of these things where, at the moment, though we do know that somebody who from South Africa, believe it or not, who got a non-lucrative visa and managed to declare that there was a rental income, which I don't think was correct. But no, it's all intents and purposes, you know, you can't do that as an activity in Spain. It's non-lucrative visa. If you're taking rental income from a property in the UK, for example, which is a very common thing, that really is down to the person who assesses your case on the day, whether they're going to accept that or not. You know, that's, as you've seen, the only guidance we got was that paragraph that I read to you earlier on. It's worth mentioning that although you can give people guidance based on experience with other visa applications, at the end of the day, it's down to that person who assesses your case. So, and the viability and what they ask for. So what you do have to do though is, I always say, back it up with as much information as possible. Obviously, any information that you give to the government has to be translated into Spanish as well, and that can't just be a Google translation, it has to be an official translation.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having to keep turning my mic up and down. I'm told on the chat that I'm getting echo. So when I asked the last question, you could hear me, but they couldn't hear me.
Okay, sorry about that.
So every time I'm not speaking, I'm going to turn my mic down. Thank you for that on the chat. Let's see. I was going to say, where do I go to get this visa? That's the first stage, and how much does it cost?
So the embassy or your consulate, which the local embassy or your local consulate in the UK. Currently, they're not operating at full speed. We've sent emails to most of the consulates and the embassy in Edinburgh and London, and we've only had a response from Manchester, believe it or not, up to now. But we're working on getting appointments because people are desperate to already get their paperwork in order and come over. In terms of the cost, well, the visa is £516 at the embassy, and if you do get rejected, you lose that. Unfortunately, there's also a small charge of an application fee for the paperwork, which is €10 as well. So you're looking at around 525 quid per person. That's expensive before you even start, isn't it? But, you know,
so that's each person, each child, everybody,
yeah. Each applicant. And you pay that the day that you have your appointment. So that's I mean, obviously, aside from that, you've got the cost of any translations that you might need. You've got the cost. So we haven't quite delved into like the requirements, like criminal record certificate. You have to have to apply, and if you've spent an extended time of 3 months outside of the UK within the last 5 years, you have to have a criminal record certificate from that place as well. You know, that's actually quite hard to prove if you've been in Europe and the EU, because they wouldn't have any way of tracing that. There'd be no stamp on your passport. But certainly so we had an inquiry from somebody that actually been they'd been in China for 6 months, so that they had stamps which related to that, and you have your passport, the embassy will see that. So
would you be able to is part of your job to help out with getting the visa, because obviously that's something that's happening in the UK?
Yes, it is. So what we're doing is we're offering basically a package of where we offer. There's 2 stages. So you've got your visa stage, and then you've got the stage you have to complete in Spain. So we'll be helping people from Spain with all the requirements and putting through basically a tick list of what they need to present at their appointment at the embassy. Evidently, we can't go to the appointment with them; we have to go in person. But we send them with a full pack ready to go, and it's all been revised. And then we assist with things that they need from here. So, for example, the people who own a property here may need a notice simply from the property just to prove that they've got a property here or where they're going. Yes, actually, other countries are request that you have an address to go to. Some countries do, some countries don't. So that's something that we need to confirm yet with the embassy. They haven't confirmed to us. Obviously, people
not streaming. Let's go. Let's see if that's working. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? We seem to be. Aha! Lovely, we're back on. I'm so sorry about the technical problems, everyone. We'll get this sorted for next time. And where were we, Chris? What were we in the middle of talking about before we so rudely interrupted you?
No, I think we got to the point where we're just talking about the structure of the money that you need and the requirements. So and the cost. I think we spoke about the cost of getting a non-lucrative visa. We said, the costs are, if you look at administrative costs, we said the criminal records, checks, also translations to things like birth certificates and marriage certificates, all that comes into play. If you haven't got your documentation with an apostille stamp on it, things like birth and marriage certificates have to carry an apostille stamp on. This is a gift from Brexit now, because before, within the EU, they passed a law that documents passed between one EU country to another 2 years ago that no longer have to carry the apostille, but obviously now UK documents do. So there's still
sorry, microphone's back on now. I was just Craig wants to clarify, is it okay to have rental property from income in the UK? Rental income from property in the UK?
Yeah, again, that's one of the things that they'll assess on the day. Yeah, in all intents and purposes, yes. Yeah, it shouldn't be a problem as long as you've got qualifying documents, that you've got the money, the rental. For example, if you've got a rental in the UK, what they're looking at is they're looking that you can sustain amount for the time of your residency. So yeah, all intents and purposes, it should be okay. But I'm going to do the typical politician thing where they do assess it on the day. So the guarantee is the lump sum. There shouldn't be a problem as long as you've got the proof that you're earning this rental income, which would be an agreement between you, your tenants, or whatever company is managing it for you. If you've had the rental income for a while, it's definitely a good idea, Craig, to prove that it's been coming in, it's regular, and any contracts relating to that. So yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. That should be a problem. But again, it's one of those things where they assess it on the day.
I was going to ask this. This is probably a silly question, bearing in mind that you moved to Spain and we're moving to Spain, and we all love the idea. I was going to say, it sounds very complicated and expensive. Is it worth it, do you think, right now with the economy in trouble, unemployment's up, shops and bars closing down, or is it just complete madness?
No. I mean, look, I can only talk. I love Spain. I can talk from personal experience. I was 21 when I came, and we've been through the ups and downs of we've seen the crash and stuff. And to be honest with you, it is worth it. Spain's a fantastic place to be. It's I'm a massive advocate for Spain. I'm fortunate enough that we've got a good life here. My children have a good life, and I mean, look, the shops and bars aren't closed now. The good thing is, I mean, you look at the autonomous community. It's only 17, I think. There's all varied rules depending on the level of infection and stuff here, the infection rates and stuff. And we seem to be riding a bit of a wave where it gets slightly closed and it'll open a bit more closed. It's certainly Andalusia, where I am, is one of the stricter regions. But we actually live in a relatively normal life at the moment. Evidently, you can't go out, dancing in the disco at 1 o'clock in the morning if that's what takes your fancy. But if you fancy going for a meal midday, then, at the moment we can, things like, sport, for example. My son plays golf, and they've got reduced size classes, and he's still going doing that. So yeah, it is. I think it's a good idea, but then I'm very biased towards Spain. I think everybody should move here. Oh, sorry. I'm afraid so. Yeah, sorry. I've got to shoot off at 11, so sorry about that. Oh, that's a good question. That's a very good question. What was it? Before I arrived. That's a good question. That is. Put me on the spot there. There's so many. There's so many. There's so many. Genial. Genial. That's good. Yeah, certainly. I said, if you talk about the moment that I landed in Salou, which is where I first lived, definitely would be the most common phrase of dos cervezas, por favor. I didn't know it when I landed.
Oh no! Just realised my mic was off for all of that. The question for everybody was, what's the one Spanish phrase that Chris wished that he'd known before he arrived here? So, and mine was genial, which means cool.
Yeah, cool. That's it. Genial. Genial is a very, very, very good word. Very good word to know for everything. So yeah. Perfect. I think I would have first learned. I didn't understand a word of Spanish before I got here, and I would have learned how to ask for 2 beers.
Perfect. Well, it's always a good start, isn't it? So, well, we'd better let you go, Chris. I'm going to say thank you so much for tuning in and putting up with the technical issues, and we will answer any more questions that anybody has in the chat. Put that in the comments below, and the other thing you can do is get it onto upsticks.es, the website, and I'll tell you all the details of that after we've said goodbye to Chris. So thanks very much. You get off and enjoy playing golf with the kids.
Many thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. See you next time.
See you next time.
So everyone, here we are. I'll just turn the Skype off. That's better. Sorry about the echoes. I have to keep my finger on the volume control on the mic. And thank you for all your questions. What did you say? If you own a house in Spain, Craig, with no mortgage, would that count towards proof of finances? I'll put that one to Chris and get back to you. Chris is going to be back with us in 2 weeks' time, by the way, answering another question or maybe continuing with this. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And his website, as I say, is called upsticks.es. He's also got a YouTube channel, which is also called Upsticks. And you can arrange a call back on his website with a free personal consultation. And thanks for his expertise. And next week then, on the live Spanish breakfast show, it'll be less about moving to Spain and more about moving through Spain and enjoying it. I will be speaking to a very good friend of mine who's a very experienced traveller. He visits Spain and he walks the Camino, especially regularly. He's very clever and eccentric, and I think you'll love him. I haven't seen him for decades, so I'm really looking forward to it. If you've learned something from this video, then please give us a like, click the like button, and of course subscribe and click on the bell. Ting! That ting, I keep saying it, it's rapidly becoming my catchphrase, and we do have t-shirts available. It's true, I'm not joking. There will be a link below to the Liz and Skatz merchandise shop when I get round to that. Liz, by the way, is an excellent yoga and meditation teacher and has her own channel, which is called U2 Yoga, and you can have free yoga lessons online and meditations. She's even organising more one-to-one meditations on Zoom, which you can join in. So if you're interested in that, then get in touch below, and we'll give you links to that channel, and also the Liz and Skatz channel, which is just our blog channel talking about our lifestyle and how we've lost over 110 pounds in weight between us. So that is all for this week. Once again, apologies for the technical issues. We'll have that sorted out for next time, and I'm going to wear a pair of headphones so that we don't get all of that feedback. Everyone, take very good care of yourselves, and we'll see each other next week on U2 Spain. Bye for now.